How do I connect my story to my niche? This is the #1 question I get asked as a business coach, mentor, or whatever else you want to freaking call me. The main core concept that keeps most people stuck, you've probably had something that you've been through that really defined who you are and why you do what you do for people. But your problem, or the story, or rather the question that you keep asking yourself that's keeping you stuck is, yeah, but how do I share that in a way that relates to my niche, to my offer, to my audience? That is the thing that's keeping you stuck in the first place, and I'm going to solve it for you in this video if you just give me a little bit of your attention. So let's dive in. If you go through something real and you struggle with how to make it relevant, you're more than likely either going to force it in your content, and you're going to be tying things that you've been through, and it's going to be a very aggressive bridge to your offer, and it's not going to make a lot of sense, and it's almost going to give your audience whiplash. Even when you're making the content, you're probably going to go, it just feels like I'm talking about my story or something bad that's happened to me, and then just going, oh hey, by the way, if you want this, you can reach out to me. And it feels really weird. And if it feels weird for you, I promise it feels weird for your audience. You either force it or you don't share it at all, and either of those paths are going to keep you stuck. You have this entire thing backwards, and what we need to do is flip it on the right side so that you can understand how to position yourself in a way that's going to make you feel good, make it feel authentic, and not feel like you're trying to force your shit onto your audience to gain trust in a way that gets them to buy from you, because that's what loses trust in the first place. So let me break this down in a way that I think is a little more simplistic, so that hopefully you can change your perspective on what it means to share your story. So the first thing that I want you to understand is that you are the connection, not the story. And I know that's a harder concept to grasp based on what I just said, but I will explain it. The bridge between your story and your offer is not actually the content. The bridge is you. So you are right here. This is you. This is your story. This is your offer. Your story over here, this is what you tell to get people out here to connect with you. And once they connect with you, you get to connect them to what you do. But thinking that the story has to go past you to connect them to your offer is why you have a hard time sharing it in the first place. Let's say it like this. Your audience doesn't actually need you to explain the link between what happened to you, where you are now, and how you translated that into your offer. They feel it because who you've become as a person. But if you're not showing who you are as a person in your social media, then it's really, really hard for people to make that connection. And that's probably why you feel like you have to over-explain it in the first place. I always say the best thing you can do for your marketing is to embody the transformation of the life that you're trying to sell people. And when you do that, you just simply being you and living your life, that is the content that shows people that what you have works. You never have to explain to somebody that you have a six-pack of abs if you take off your shirt and they see it. So with that concept, let's take this as a fitness coach, for example. Let's say that you are a fitness coach and you share a very painful childhood story. That story might not have anything to do with fitness, but it has everything to do with who you became as a byproduct of that story. That is going to cause the audience to lean in. They're not going to disconnect when you talk about something that you overcame, what it did for you, and who you became as a byproduct. That's the arc. You don't have to say, this is what I became as a byproduct, and this is now why I do this, this, and this for other people. You're missing the whole plot. That's too much. It's too much. Less is more. Your audience will see a human being now, not just the brand, not just the brand persona or the customer service voice you're trying to put on when the camera's on because you think that that's who you need to be in order to convert people. It's doing the opposite, I freaking promise. The offer is quite literally never the point. The person is the point. Let's go into this concept. I call this the shared backstory frame. And basically, you share something real with what you've been through, and they recognize themselves in that past story. This is very, very important. So let me break this down in a way that maybe it seems just a little bit more simplistic. If I share, hey, I grew up with a single mom in a trailer park, absent father. That's all I have to share. What that did for me was it made me feel like there was something wrong with me going through life because I felt like I was never enough for my dad to be around. So every achievement that I did, I would always conquer something, and then I would look, is dad here? Still no, okay, I'm still not good enough. And eventually I had to realize that I was living my life for a man who didn't actually exist in my life. So I wasn't living my life for anybody. So I had to start living my life for me, and that's when my entire life changed, because I stopped trying to prove myself to an imaginary figure. I can share that story, and now I can have somebody in my audience, maybe one of you, who also grew up with a single mom in a trailer park without a father, but you and I, say real quick, we have a shared backstory. You see your version, oh my God, that same thing happened to me. Holy crap, we have such a similar past. But maybe we have completely different present times. So maybe that same person took that, created a story and said, I'm never going to be good enough. What's the point of trying? And maybe they're still living in a trailer park. No shade to my trailer park homies. I love y'all. But maybe that person is still living in a suboptimal place and they have a suboptimal life and they're stressed and they hate that they can't make something of themselves and they blame their father. But then they see me filming a video in a penthouse, having a multi-million-dollar business, making content, whatever it is. And they look at that and they go, wait a minute. If we have a shared backstory, same thing happened to us, but Nick's over there and I'm over here. That must mean that I messed up. They start doing math. They're doing calculations in their head. That like realization comes into them. There was another way I could have done this. That's the sweet spot of building trust in your audience. Oh my God, there's another way I could have gone about what happened to me because I see this person who did it. That's where the trust builds, right there. So they'll see where you're at now and they'll compare it to where you both started and they'll see that gap, but the gap isn't luck, the gap is a decision. And they didn't make the same decision that you did, and that's why they'll lean in and make a decision to help you work with them or help you help them, if that makes sense. Circling back, the most important psychological moment I think that you can make inside of your content when you are sharing your backstory is to give somebody that aha realization of there was another way. There is nothing more powerful than that coming through somebody when they see your content. You really can't, like an ad can't do that. You can't create a paid ad for people to really see that you are similar to them and that you've been through shit. When you can do that, it's almost like you don't have to convince these people, they're going to convince themselves. Let's say this another way. These people, I know this is gonna sound crazy, these people actually aren't interested in your offer, they're interested in your mind. They're interested in your lens, in your way of seeing the world, in your way of seeing the problems that are keeping them stuck. That's what they're interested in. And I know it sounds crazy. You think that you have to go and make this incredible offer and you need to put all these bells and whistles, you need to make it feel premium, you need the right logo and the right colors, you need the right app, and it needs to all look premium. Totally, that's great. But the most premium thing you can do for people is show them that you came from the same place. That's gonna give you the value in the marketplace, not a high quality camera, even though this camera looks nice. Because your way of doing things is producing results, theirs isn't. That's what they want. And they only get that by you sharing aspects of your story that show people that you've been through things similar or similarly adjacent to what they have been through. Let's think about this in regards to actually selling, because the number one block is, I have my story, how do I tie that to my offer so I can sell people my audience? You do not have to hard sell something that you are already living. The problem is that most people who are struggling to scale their business or struggling to make content or struggling to get people to lean in, they're not actually walking the path that they're selling other people. They're just talking about it, but they don't actually live it every single day. And that's the disconnect. People can feel it. Take a fat fitness coach for an example. You're gonna see somebody 40 pounds overweight who's saying, hey, let me help you get in shape for the summer. Yeah, no. They could tell you all the stuff in the world, but if you have half a brain cell and you can critically think, you're gonna look at that person and go, if it works, why isn't it working on you? I don't trust you because you are not at the point that you're telling me you can get me to. Now, I will say, caveat here, if I hire some person fitness coaching wise and they're 20, 30 pounds overweight, but I can see pictures of them in their prime and they look like how I wanna look like, okay. You had it, you got there, maybe you just don't want to maintain it anymore. Cool, but at least I know you've got it. Now I can listen to you a little bit more because there's proof, there's tangibility. So if you think about it like this, your life is the product demo of what you're selling people. My life is the product demo. When I'm selling an organic, visionary business, financial freedom, wealth, etc., you see me do it. I don't try to be somebody that I'm not. I live life on my own terms, and sometimes just because my terms are not flashy, huge mansions with supercars and all, that doesn't mean that my way is wrong. It means that my way is mine, and if I can focus on it being my way, then I do have freedom. My life is the product demo for what I sell people. My results, all of the client testimonials that I get, if you're on Instagram, I'm sorry, but you see them every single freaking day on my stories because I can't keep up. But my results, that's the case study. I've got the product demo, me living my life. I've got my constant case studies, which is my client results. And then I've got my daily content is the testimonial for what I'm talking about. Me going out and being on a boat with my friends on a Saturday and making a piece of content on the boat. That right there is the testimonial. I am at the place where I am letting you know you can get to. You don't have to stress about content anymore. You don't have to rack your brains about the right thing to say. You can pick up your phone on a boat in the middle of the lake, say a couple things and hit post, and it's still gonna grow your business. That is the testimonial of my work. When you get to that level, everything in your life changes, in my opinion, because true embodiment, you can't fake it, you can't copy it, and you can't compete with it. You don't have to worry about competing with other people or keeping up with the Joneses or looking at other people that are in your niche. This is the complete opposite advice of what most coaches are gonna tell you in this industry. They're gonna tell you, go look at everybody who's performing well in your niche, go copy what they're doing or go see and then take. None of that. Are you actually who you say you are online? And if you are, then the results are gonna speak for themselves. I don't have to go look up what the top business coaches are posting. I don't have to go look up what all of these people are posting because I'm focusing on what I live. I'm focusing on what I provide, what I'm selling people, the life that I'm creating. And if people see that and they wanna build a similar life for themselves, there is nobody who will compete with me on whether or not they should buy it. If you think about it like this, every single piece of content that you make, and I know I'm gonna say this and people are gonna freak out. Let me cook. Every piece of content is a sales conversation. And I don't mean that in every single piece of content should come with a pitch and get people to buy from you. That's not what I'm saying. So think about this. If you're a fitness coach, your body is speaking before the program does. Your body is already telling people whether or not they should trust you. That's a sale. Do I follow this person? Yeah, you're selling them on following you. Do I engage with this person? Yeah, they have good content, I'm selling it, et cetera, et cetera. Let's say if you're a relationship coach and your relationship is very visible and it's undeniable, that is already selling people just by you living it and posting your relationship. Business coach, lifestyle, client results, all documented in real time. That right there, it's a sales conversation. But you're not posting content when you're posting stuff like this, you're posting proof. Here's what I'm living, here's my client results, here's my mindset, here's what works, here's what doesn't, proof. Every single thing. That, when you're embodied, everything that you post is proof. Everything that you post, everything that you do in your life is content if you're living that end goal. And I know you've heard me say that a bajillion times on videos, but it's worth repeating because people really don't freaking grasp it, okay? So if we go back to just the embodiment frame of this, embodiment beats every single tactic in the book, in my opinion. And again, we're living proof of it. Multi-million-dollar company, organically, no ads, no cold DMs, no email funnels, no VSL, no landing pages, nothing, no follow-up sequence, none of that shit. Just content, that's it. Just content and client results, and that's what we scale. So the most powerful lead gen tool is a person who is very, very clear on what their audience wants. That's the most powerful lead gen. You are clear on what they want, not what you want. Big difference. What does that person who's your ideal client actually want? And when they see the gap between your past and your present, those people, they don't need CTAs. They don't need a call to action. They just need a way in. And if what you're posting is substantial, they will naturally do what's necessary to find the next step to take to get closer to you. It's crazy. When you focus on selling less and you focus on becoming the thing, sales happen as a byproduct every single time. The problem is most people don't know how to freaking do that. That's why I'm trying to help you with this. You are the walking, posting, living example that the transformation that you're taking people through is real, or you're not. You either are or you aren't, and you know right now where you're at in this video whether or not you are the walking embodiment of that transformation or not. And if you're not, I strongly recommend not trying to find another business tactic, not trying to find another script, not trying to find another ChatGPT prompt. I actually just recommend you focus on getting your shit together first and being the example outcome of what you want people to be. Because if I don't see you and become inspired, I'm probably not going to see you and want to pay you. If you can give that to people, it's worth more than any ad budget. That's why you don't need to run ads to grow a business. You really don't. Do they help? Sure, maybe. But if you don't have all of this structured, if you don't have a strong organic base, there's no reason for you to have a conversation about ads in the first place, in my opinion. So to put it all in a nice tiny bow, stop trying to connect your story to your offer. It's actually doing the opposite. Connect the story to yourself. Don't share your story because you're trying to convert. Share your story because it's true, because it happened to you, and because it is what helped you become who you are today. That's the lesson that you learned from that story. That's what's important to share. Somewhere in your audience is someone who experienced life almost the exact same way or experienced the exact same situation, but they went a different direction than you. Seeing your life is going to be the very first time that they see that another direction is actually possible. Your story is your power. That's the slogan of my company. Your story is your power. Your story isn't your offer. Your story is the power that comes into you to show people that there's another way. Your offer is how you help them get the same path that you took. Your embodiment is your marketing. If you don't have an embodied outcome, you don't have marketing that's going to hit. And if you guys like this video, do me a favor real quick. Hit that like button, click the subscribe button if you haven't, and if you wouldn't mind, for my own external validation, if you could just drop a comment down below and let me know what your biggest takeaway is so that I can help curate these videos more to be valuable for you and what's actually hitting for you. Hope this was helpful, guys. I'll see you in the next one.